Want a tour of a country full of dollar millionaires? People were so rich they used banknotes as wallpaper and wrapping paper and hauled cash to the store in wheelbarrows. Artists turned piles of money into installations, and newlyweds paved their dance floors with it. On paper, everyone was a dollar millionaire, some even billionaires. Tiny catch? Those dollars were Zimbabwean. How does an economy bend reality that far? Zimbabwe was never exactly prosperous. In the early 2000s, the government ran out of money and chose the worst fix in the textbook: print more of it. No reforms to boost production, no serious cuts, no credible plan, just the presses. That solution delivered inflation on a scale that melts calculators, tens of billions of percent per month by 2008, with the annual rate reaching the realm of trillions. Eventually, officials stopped publishing numbers. They printed so much that the paper was worth more than the currency. Yes, they issued a $100 trillion note. Today, a souvenir and a warning label. Prices doubled every 24 hours. Salaries arrived already obsolete. Savings turned to smoke. A simple grocery run became a race against the clock. Bread listed at $15 billion in the morning cost more by checkout. Shops removed price tags because printing new ones cost too much. When formal trade cracked, people slipped into black markets, bartering anything that held its value: diesel, livestock, electronics, foreign cash for food and essentials. The banking system imploded, trust followed. In 2009, Zimbabwe dollarized, letting US dollars and South African rand circulate to stop the bleeding. It worked, briefly. Inflation cooled, shelves refilled, and people could plan next week without a spreadsheet and a prayer. A decade later, convinced the nightmare had passed, authorities reintroduced the Zimbabwean dollar. The result? Inflation returned, not apocalyptic at first, but corrosive. By 2023, it still hovered in the triple digits, enough to keep nerves frayed and savings in hiding. Then came the grand new fix, a gold-linked currency, the Zimbabwe gold. Impressive name, comforting story. But a currency isn't a fairy tale. It runs on trust, convertibility, and discipline. Within a day, the new unit plunged on parallel markets. Locals got the message. Many went back to dollars, rand, or crypto, anything with less drama. Why does the storm keep circling back? Reason 1, geography and logistics. Zimbabwe is landlocked. Every export and import must cross a neighbor's border and pass through someone else's port. That means delays, fees, and vulnerability to other countries' politics and infrastructure breakdowns. Move fuel through a congested corridor and delivery costs surge. Try exporting perishables when customs stalls and earnings evaporate. When you don't control your sea gate, your economy pays rent to geography every single day. Reason 2, an economy that never grew enough muscle. Around 17 million people live in Zimbabwe. 2/3 farm just to eat. A healthy manufacturing base never took root, so the country imports everything from cooking oil to spare parts to medical gloves. It does have resources: gold, platinum, crime, lithium, but mining booms do not automatically become broad prosperity. Official gold output in 2024 set a record, but smuggling siphons a giant share through networks greased by corruption and desperation. Minerals leave, value-added industries don't appear. When a nation buys almost everything and sells mostly raw stuff, its currency is permanently nervous. Reason 3, history and how it shaped institutions. Colonizers seized land, herded people onto reserves, ran the mines and the state like private estates. After independence in 1980, the moral logic of land reform was obvious, the execution wasn't. In the late 1990s and 2000s, farms were seized through patronage and coercion, often handed to allies without capital, inputs, or agronomy know-how. Agriculture, once the backbone, collapsed. A nation that fed itself began to import grain. Starving farms, starved factories. No crops, no processing, no transport demand, no exports. Knock out one pillar, the rest of the house wobbles. Add politics. Robert Mugabe, liberation hero to many, presided over a system where dissent bled, corruption flourished, and economic policy lurched from improvisation to punishment to magical thinking. Some reforms came: more school access, better clinics, bursts of liberalization, but strategic discipline never anchored the state. Elections lost were unlost. Sanctions followed. Friends with deep pockets were choosy. Investors shrugged. By 2009, a power-sharing deal signaled how far the center had cracked. In 2017, the military ushered Mugabe out, gently as coups go. He died in 2019, a national hero to some, a symbol of squandered promise to others. Today, Emerson Mnangagwa promises stability and growth. Some bright spots exist: attempts to compensate dispossessed farmers, a trickle of returns to the land by those who know it best, renewed talk of rule of law and investment. But credibility is earned in years and lost in headlines. Crackdowns on protests, contested elections, and currency experiments that wilt at first contact with markets keep faith fragile. Without trust, money hides, and capital whispers abroad. Meanwhile, daily life runs on hustle and ingenuity. People mix currencies at street stalls, scan mobile money for small purchases, and keep a stash of US dollars for rent or school fees. Shops scribble prices in multiple units and repeg by afternoon. Entrepreneurs import basics by the trunkload because formal supply chains jam on the smallest bureaucratic pebble. Power cuts scatter production schedules. Diesel generators become line items, not backups. If opportunity has a smell, in Harare, it's part optimism, part gasoline.
Could it be different? Yes, if institutions harden. That means budgets anchored by tax, not printing. Energy supply that's boring in the best way, reliable baseload, fewer outages, transparent tariffs. Farmers with title they can borrow against, inputs they can afford, and roads that don't devour trucks. Courts that arbitrate disputes faster than rumors spread. A central bank that fears inflation more than applause. None of this is magic, but each requires time, trust, and the one thing money cannot buy: consistency.
So yes, there really was a country of dollar millionaires. Money flooded the streets, but value fled their lives. Hyperinflation turned a proud currency into confetti, and trust into a black market exchange rate. And yet, against this chaos, people persist. They farm, they trade, they improvise, they try again tomorrow. In a place where money has lied for so long, the only reliable truth will be built brick by brick: credible policy, working institutions, and the slow miracle of compounding trust. When that arrives, the wheelbarrows can finally retire, and the word millionaire might mean something again.